it as like what you have always established as the cornerstone of quality or the aesthetic that really resonated with you when you first started this journey? What's up, guys? I want to talk to you about this specific brand and how they've played a major role in the journey that I've had throughout the shoe community here. Whenever you pick up a new hobby or a new passion project, or just join a new community like this one, which is kind of a traditional welded footwear community, there's always a brand, a name that stick out, and you really kind of set them as like the cornerstone of what you see as quality within that community. There's usually a barrier or two to be able to get something like that, either the cost, the accessibility of the product, or just if you're ready or not to make such a large purchase. Normally, you've already built those expectations up pretty high in your mind, and you're kind of setting yourself up for one of two options. Either they're going to exceed, or you're going to set yourself up for failure because those expectations that you've set over all those years are unreasonable and nobody could meet them. I am extremely happy to report this pair of shoes from Joe Works Shoemaker has far exceeded any of the expectations that I built up in my mind over the last 4 years. I'll jump right into the review here. I'll share some more context about how I found Joe Works, what my overall thoughts at the time were, and what my thoughts of this shoe is, whether or not I'd recommend them, and my overall thoughts and review about this made-to-order experience. Joe Works Shoemaker was founded in 2014. They're based in Tokyo, Japan. They do make Goodyear Welted shoes, but they're really well regarded for the additional steps that they apply to all of their shoes, that the finishing is all done by hand, and that really differentiates them and separates the final product from many other Goodyear Welted shoes. I can still remember the very first pair that really caught my eye from Joe Works. It was a whiskey shell cordovan short wing vulture. It's just a very classic looking shoe coming from the American shoe market, and being that's kind of where my style had started. When I saw that coming from Joe Works, the level of detail, the level of just elegance that was built into the last, the pattern, and of course the whiskey shell cordovan was all very attractive to me. I was finally able to secure my own made-to-order pair from them, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I mentioned this during the unboxing, but I want to mention it again. This is a made-to-order pair that I got as part of a collaboration with Joe Works. Joe Works has a very well-established domestic market within Japan. They have a few international retailers, but not as much growth as I think they should have, or as much growth as I think they would have liked to have in the international market. That's where this comes into play. If there's not a very established process for getting that sizing correct, it's very unlikely that you're going to have repeated positive customer experiences, because if the shoes don't fit, it doesn't matter how nice they look. I'll include the order form that they fixed up for me after we went ahead and we did all of the details. This is one of the best ordering forms that I've actually seen. They really put a lot of the examples that you provided them as references into that order form, and really validate that each of the details they're going to build into the shoe are the exact details that you've requested. And that's something that I really appreciate. That's one of the biggest areas where things go wrong, is that the details get lost in the messages. I'll link the unboxing video that I did right here. You can check that out if you want to see more about that unboxing experience. The short version is their packaging, their overall experience as far as just the visuals, how everything ties together, all these little nuanced details that most may not actually pay attention to. These are all very refined and elegant and built into the experience. You can check that out here. Now I want to get into more of the specifics about this pair of shoes. This is a stock UK8, which is on their zero last, and that is the soft square last. If we look at the bottom and the edge work here, this is a double leather sole. It's got a very elegant beveled waist, both on the inside and on the outside, or if I go in the right direction, on the inside and on the outside. Moving down to the bottom work, it's got a closed channel outsole stitch, very elegantly done, kind of a round bottom there. And then I chose to go with the Vibram top sole, as well as the matching Vibram heel top lift. One final detail before we get into the upper leather is that the outsole finishing here, you can really see how finely executed that outsole stitch is, as well as the fudging that goes around. And that fudging will stop right where the waist begins to bevel, which is very elegant and very reminiscent of some of the higher end shoes that have the blind welded waist. This is obviously a machine welded, Goodyear welded construction, but it really emulates that look. Now this is made in camel leather. This is my first experience with camel leather, so I don't really have much of a reference to kind of talk about the quality, but I think one thing that you can see here, and let me remove the shoe tree here, and we can get to that next, is one thing you can see here is that this leather has a very fine pore structure, and I've worn these probably 10, 12 times already, and no major spidering or anything that's kind of just unpleasant to look at. I think this is a very good representation of what a quality leather is, because this is a whole cut, so any imperfections in the leather would really show. So this is a navy lining and a navy heel pad with their name on it. That is one of the details that we had decided on, and I really like how that came out. These are the standard shoe trees that you are able to order with your shoes. I believe they do also offer hinged shoe trees, but I have to say, like, they are very well made. I'd say like these are very much on par with the shoe trees that you'd see from Edward Green, Gaziano, and Girling. This is a very natural finish on the wood of the shoe tree, and the fit is just exactly how it should be. Now let's get into the most important part, at least one of the most important parts, and that's the sizing and the fit. This is a UK 8, and normally I am a UK 7.5 or a UK 8 standard width. After kind of sharing all of my sizing experiences, the measurements of my foot with James from Joe Works, as well as kind of going over a lot of the details or the characteristics of my feet that usually cause pain points for me, we both landed on UK 8 was probably the right way to go. It definitely was. If you see the initial video where I tried these on and kind of broke them in for the first time, it's not uncomfortable in any of the key spots that normally, if I'm going to have a problem with the fitting, the shoe would be uncomfortable. It really fits extremely well on the instep. There's very minimal excess room across the vamp, and you can see based on where the shoe is flexing that it's right at the middle to a middle front of the ball of my foot. Now, from a sizing advice perspective, for people that may be interested in picking up their first pair from Joe Works, make sure that you have a comprehensive list of the last, the sizing, and which of those last fit the best. Even a quick, cell phone video of your foot, kind of showing the different points and different parts that you may be concerned about. I would share all of that with Joe Works. I'm sure you're probably thinking that you would just want to know what my overall thoughts and recommendations are. I would for sure, without a doubt, recommend Joe Works to anybody that's looking for a classic but extremely well-made Goodyear welded pair of shoes. They have a number of different styles, patterns. I believe only 2 last, but if you look at their range and their offering, I think they have a really strong identity of what it is they want to build, what it is that they want to deliver, and they really stick to that. If you see their photos on Instagram, you know it's a pair of Joe Works because they have as much of an iconic style in their shoe and in their silhouette as they do in their Instagram photography, which I think is really cool. It's something that really is a strong sign of a creative when they have a very strong identity and they know how to create that each and every time. Now I want to talk about what aspects of this maybe I'm not as thrilled with, or what aspects I think could have been done better. This finishing, this color is kind of like the perfect, it's almost like a chestnut finishing. And now I'm talking about the things that I really like instead of the stuff I would change. And it solely focuses right on here. And honestly, I don't think I would change that. It looks a little bit kind of like stretched out, but as I look at my Chelsea boots, it has that same stretch that happens. I think maybe the only thing that could change that is if I went with the other style, lazyman, but I didn't want that look. I want this look. And when this is on my foot, it's not stretched out. It's just on my foot and it looks like it normally does. So, it's not an issue. While it's something that, I wanted to kind of make note of, it's not really a concern for me. So I guess I wouldn't change anything. Okay, on to the next section, which is, this is like an overly positive video, but there are a few times that I definitely would not recommend them for you, unfortunately. If you are not very confident in your sizing without having the chance to try them on first, they're probably not the right option for you. So yeah, as far as price and availability, you definitely want to email Joe Works at their email address, and that is info@joeworks.net. If you email them, definitely let them know, that you reached out to them because of this video. I'm not getting anything out of that, but it'll kind of give them some context as to how you found their email address, and share what it is that you're looking for. Give them as much context and as much background about your fit as possible, and I'm sure they'll take the conversation from there. Price-wise, they start around 98,000 Japanese yen, which comes out to $700 US, which is an extremely reasonable price, I think, for the quality and the fit and everything that you're getting here. I mean, if you think about, there are some Crockett & Jones pairs that go for that much, if I'm not mistaken, and I would take this. The leather options that they have, camel leather, I don't really know if I've seen that anywhere else, and I love this stuff so far. So yep, give them a try if you're interested. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what your thoughts are about Joe Works, if you've had any experience with them, or if you're looking to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.